Before fall break kicks off on campus, we're going to talk about some sports. It's the Extra Point, and it starts right now. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Extra Point. I'm your host, Griffin Barfield, in the panelist chair today. I'm getting closer with my panelists. I got David Poley and Toby Corson to my right. Brian.
Kobe Corson, that's sick, dude.
just a little slip.
Oh no, you're Kobe now, brother.
Yeah, we got three panelists today. I'm going to chime in every now and then, give my picks, and never a better time. We got some great games, and we're going to get right into it, get right back into the college football pick'em. And what a game to start off with, guys. Number 8 Oregon traveling to Seattle to take on the number 7 Washington Huskies. Obviously, could have big Pac-12 championship implications. We might see these teams again. But for the first time, who takes this one? Anyone want to start?
I'll start. I got Washington. I may have a little bias. Both my parents went to school there. But Michael Penix is the guy. He's going to win the Heisman. I think he's got Caleb Williams beat out if he keeps playing the way he has. It really comes down to which defense plays better. The Huskies need to stop the run. They've given up over 200 yards of offense the last 2 times, or over 200 yards of runs the last 2 times these teams have played. But they have the best aerial attack in college football, so can Oregon's secondary break them down? So it's going to be a dogfight. It's going to be a shootout, high scoring, but I think Washington has the edge.
Yeah, you got to be worried about that rushing attack with Bucky Irving and Bo Nix. Bo Nix has been getting some touchdowns on the ground, for Oregon. I'm going to go with Washington too, though, but my real pick is over 67.5. No, I'm just kidding. I think it's going to be points. I think it's going to be super, super fun. My cousin James is getting married on the 21st. He went to Washington for grad school, so I'm going Washington. I think this is the game where Penix really showcases his athleticism. Oregon's going to break down the pocket a little bit, and way more than all of Washington's opponents have. Neither team has really played anybody. Oregon's played Colorado and Texas Tech, and Washington has played Boise State and Arizona. So it's you really got to throw everything out and just go with your gut. I'm going with Michael Penix. I'm going with my cousin James, and Washington. Let's go.
All right, I'll go next. This is such a tough game to decide, and the thing that I hate the most about it is that they put it at 3:30. Like, it's not prime time. They put UCLA, Oregon State over Oregon and Washington. Like, you can flex the schedule. Either way, I'm going to go Huskies. I love watching Michael Penix. I mean, he is phenomenal. Bo Nix is phenomenal too, but I just love the story of Washington. They're kind of like not even really from what I've heard, they're not in the main news. They're not where Colorado was with the news when they played Oregon. They're really not where Oregon is when Oregon's being talked about. So I absolutely love it. Michael Penix, I think, is going to win the Heisman. I think he's the favorite right now. He's very.
I think the winner of this game wins the Heisman.
Yeah, absolutely. And I even saw Oregon's like a plus 189. They have like the highest point differential of like all of the college football, but they've also played not very good opponents. I mean, it's not like either way. I'm going Huskies. I believe in Penix. I think they're going to do well. It's going to be close.
Yeah, and the home field advantage in Spokane is real. It's real.
Oh, yeah.
It's real, but against all odds, I'm going to take Oregon.
Thank gosh. We couldn't have the whole panel.
I really think they're going to do it, and here's why. I think Dan Lanning, I love him as a head coach. Obviously, I believe he was a defensive coordinator at Georgia, and if anybody knows how to stop tough offenses, I mean, you can take a look 2 years ago in the national championship when Dan Lanning was able to stop, Bryce Young in that whole Alabama attack and be able to move on. So I think if anybody can do it, it's Oregon, but like you said, I think whoever wins this, whether it be quarterback, I think either Bo Nix or Michael Penix will win the Heisman, whoever wins this game. But I'm just over. I think this game, like you said, is going to be a slugfest. I think it's just going to be whatever defense comes out first. But I'm going to go Oregon, but we got a couple Washington heads in here, and the over. So we'll see what happens. But going into the next game, we have another high-stakes matchup. We got the undefeated number 10 USC Trojans traveling to South Bend to take on the number 21 Notre Dame Fighting Irish, who are coming off a loss to Louisville. This is a fun one. We obviously saw a lot of Caleb Williams last year. Is he going to be the difference maker this year in this game? What do you guys think on that?
I'll start again. I got USC. They've had a little bit of a bumpy road the last few weeks. Close games with Colorado, Arizona. Even Arizona State they let hang around just too long for how good of a team they are. But Sam Hartman is not that guy. Notre Dame's had more of a bumpy road than USC has. USC has found a way to win the games, and I think they're going to dominate this game.
You gonna go, David?
Cheer, cheer for old Notre Dame. Ba 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 ba. USC plays no defense, and Notre Dame's run the ball. USC has no defense, no toughness. Sam Hartman bounce back. We're going at it. Notre Dame is going to smash them. I love Notre Dame off the embarrassing loss, frankly, to Louisville. And I think that USC has been just teetering. You see Arizona, you see Arizona State. All these games that they should be blowing teams out, they're not because their defense can't really make stops. They made a stop on the 2-point conversion when it mattered, but against Audric Estime, the best running back in college football and a top 10 quarterback in college football, I think, if Gerard Parker, the offensive coordinator for Notre Dame, can call even a remotely competent game, which is definitely very difficult for him, Notre Dame will win this game. They're more physical. They're tough. Yeah.
Oh, it's like Matt Canada with the Steelers. It's like if you can call a competent game, you'll win. So I didn't mean to cut you off with that one.
Yeah, Notre Dame, baby.
But I guess all to me, as much as I love Notre Dame, I love the story of Sam Hartman. I'm going to go USC. I get it. Every team has a rough week. As a Ravens fan, I definitely know how that feels. But going back to college, it's just they had a rough game last week. It was a tough game. They did come out on top, and good teams find a way to win no matter how bad it is. So I'm going to go with USC. I think they will win. Do I think it's going to be a complete blowout like the rankings show it should be? No, I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be probably one score, maybe 10 points. But I do have USC winning.
In South Bend, 10 versus 21. I don't know what the spread is, but I know I believe it's under 7 points.
Notre Dame -3.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Notre Dame.
I don't like my pick as much as I do.
Notre Dame -3, and I'm gonna roll with the Irish. I'm gonna roll with them.
Now I like it again.
I really think home field advantage plays a huge factor here. Like David said, USC plays absolutely no defense. And I think if Notre Dame is able to stop Caleb Williams, maybe 1 or 2 drives, I think they pull out the win. And I think Marcus Freeman is a little bit of a bad taste in his mouth. Obviously, that was, I believe, their regular season finale last year when they lost. But I think they're going to do it. I like Sam Hartman. I think Audric Estime has a big game, and I think the Irish come out on top. But I think we got to talk about their schedule. I think Notre Dame's schedule. I think they've played 3 or 4 ranked opponents in a row. They're always on this panel. So it is what it is. That's going to be another exciting one. That's at 7:30. But speaking of more 7:30 games, we have the U, who we'll be talking about a little bit later. Their whole mishap. They're now the number 25 team in the country. They'll be traveling to Chapel Hill to take on the number 12 team, the North Carolina Tar Heels. Brian, I'll start with you. What do you like in this one?
As much as I want to just crack on Miami about the head coaching job last week, which we'll get into later, I'm going to go with UNC. It's home. They're very impressive this year, just as good, if not even better than last year, because I think last year they weren't even ranked at this point. But for me, it's Drake May's looking really good. I don't know. I don't trust Miami, and I don't know whether it's coaching or whether it's players. Will it be a blowout? I'm thinking 14 points maybe. But I don't see Miami walking into UNC. And to me, it's kind of like pick your poison because we're all Clemson fans. So I'm sitting here going between, do I want Miami or UNC to win? Why can't they just both lose? That's kind of my philosophy. But I'm going UNC.
So game's at Miami, right? Or
Game is in Chapel Hill.
In Chapel Hill. So then it's even more of a blowout for UNC. I'm going to go UNC. Drake May's got guts.
Mm-hmm.
That guy is so tough as a quarterback, and he's also an incredible athlete, incredible quarterback. I mean, Miami doesn't have a fan base, so it's not really got to worry about anything. Even if you were in there, it's Miami and it's at Hard Rock, so you wouldn't even have to worry about that. Now you're going to Chapel Hill. That place gets rowdy. UNC, an underrated all-time football program, 7 10-win seasons in the program history. You think basketball, of course, because all those national titles, but they play football, man. Mac Brown, best coach in all time at UNC with his 2 different tenures. He's there right now. I think that UNC is going to run the ball down their throat. I think Miami is absolutely overwhelmed with everything that happened last week, with all the boosters really mad with Cristobal's situation. I'm going UNC.
Can I add one thing real quick? Because I just noticed this when you said UNC basketball. Did you know, or I just saw the stat today, that Duke, Kansas, UCLA, UNC, and who's the other blue blood in basketball?
Syracuse? No.
It's another blue team. all 5 of them are ranked
for
in
the
top
first time
25
ever
since like 1936.
So
it's insane.
I remember,
Kentucky.
Kentucky,
yeah. I remember a couple years ago. I was like, it was Duke and Kentucky were ranked for the first. It was when Daniel Jones was playing for Duke. Duke and Kentucky were both ranked for the first time ever together. Like, and that's just crazy.
I just think it was a funny stat to put it. Go ahead.
Totally. Toby.
All right. Well, I'm going to take the underdog, Miami. I think I have no stats to back this up. I just think that a lot of people's jobs are on the line after last week, and I think they have to go get it done in UNC. Cristobal has done a great job with the Miami program. He's taken it out of slump. Of course, we'll get into what happened last week, but I think it's a must-win game, and I think somehow they'll get it done.
You talk about like must win. Do you think that this would be the deciding factor of if they get fired or not? Because I don't see it.
I think if they lose this game, it's going to start a downward trend for the program that puts a lot of people's jobs in jeopardy. And it's just like if they go bounce back, win this week, all right, hey, last week is a fluke. If they lose this week and they continue that trend, a lot of people's jobs are going to be up for grabs.
I would almost think more like the next unranked team or team that they're supposed to be. Because I feel like UNC. I don't know. I mean, that's your opinion. Like I completely respect your opinion, but it's like. I don't know. I think
they should lose to UNC, but after last week they lose, and then you tack on another loss. Like this is a big game they need to win to be able to say, hey, we're still doing good things. We had one bad mishap.
Maybe it's more like a 3-score blowout. Maybe it's more of that type of thing. If you can keep it close.
Yeah, I mean, going to your point, I'm going to take UNC. I'm not going to split it here. But I think Miami does keep it close. I think it is a one-score game. I think it is a very anxious game if you are a Chapel Hill fan. But because Miami's the real deal, I think. I think that they're a very top team in the AFC. The ACC, I think Mario Cristobal has done a great job building the program. His decision-making, as you know, maybe not last year, while he was coaching at Oregon, too, there have been, a couple mishaps here and there. But I think just because it is in Chapel Hill and it's going to be rowdy, and North Carolina have tons of hope with their season and plenty of going into the ACC championship game, maybe a Florida State matchup, I'm gonna take the Tar Heels here, and I love Drake May in this situation. Moving on, though, we're going back to the Pac-12 for the game that Brian was talking about earlier. The number 18 UCLA Bruins traveling to Corvallis, Oregon, to take on the number 15 Oregon State Beavers. Who do you guys like in this one?
Because I'm lost.
Yeah, I'll go ahead. I got UCLA in this one. I think it's going to be a defensive battle. UCLA has a great defense. Their defensive line leads college football in pressures. They don't lead it in sacks, but they're getting a lot of pressure on the quarterbacks. And DJ is terrible under pressure. The Oregon State quarterback, he has a 44% completion rating under pressure. UCLA is led by
Latu, I think.
Yeah, Latu. We'll go with Latu. That's his last name. He's going to be a first-round draft pick, if not top 5 pick in the draft this year. I think he's just going to go dominate. He's going to put a lot of pressure on them, and I think UCLA is going to come out on top.
Yeah, if you're, got a lot of pressure from UCLA defense, but if you're thinking it's going to be a defensive battle, then my mind immediately goes to Oregon State. I'm gonna pick Oregon State. I mean, I think that. So, long story short, there's a 3-team cycle of the bottom tier, of the second tier teams in the Pac-12. So when you think the top tier teams in the Pac-12, you're obviously thinking USC, Oregon, and Washington. Those second tier teams are also great. They're just not as good as those first teams. And that's Washington State, UCLA, and Oregon State, right? So UCLA beats Washington State last week. Washington State beat Oregon State the week before. I think now it completes like a little triangle cycle. I think Oregon State's going to beat UCLA. I think UCLA's coming big off that win against Washington State. I think Oregon State has a stud defense, stud running back. They're replacing a lot on the offense. They got a good offensive line. They replaced a lot on defense, but it's still a really good defense. And I like DJ's running game that you can, definitely incorporate to get it going. Dante Moore, freshman moment. He hasn't really had that big, pressure situation. This is in Corvallis?
Yes.
Yeah, Corvallis is a tough place to play, especially when they're rocking right now. I'm going to go with DJ Uyunglele and Oregon State.
I'm looking at this and I'm like, I don't know where to lean. That's where I'm kind of going in on this one. It's just so tough. I mean, yes, again, I'm going to die on the hill that Oregon and Washington should be the game to beat, but it's a good one to fill in, or the game of the night or the primetime game. These are two teams that I think in the top 25, these are probably like the two teams that I don't know the most about. out of all top 25 teams. It's just they're not really shown a lot. They're only shown when it's either a primetime game or they're playing a big school, even though they've done really well this season. I'm leaning towards Oregon State because I trust the offensive line over the defense. I don't know how much one pass rusher can, with an offensive line as good as Oregon State, I don't know how much one really good pass rusher, can affect that.
They got other guys.
Yeah,
they do have other guys. It's not just Latham.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to lean towards DJ. I think between the offensive line that's really good and DJ just being a veteran over a freshman, I think it comes down to me at least, which quarterback do you trust more? And being home, I trust DJ. So I'm going to probably go, I will go Oregon State just for the fact that I trust their offense and who leads their offense more than UCLA.
I think you did it perfectly, and that's what I took into mind. I think there's two things. Where's the game being played, and which quarterback do you trust? It's in Corvallis, Oregon. They have beaten a valuable team with Washington State before, and I would much rather trust, what is he, fourth year now? I'd trust a fourth-year quarterback over a freshman quarterback, especially when he's playing away from home. So with that being said, I will take Oregon State, but take the under. I think it is a very low-scoring game. Whew. All right.
I think you'll get it in the 20s, though. I think it's around 48. I feel like an under is a good pick.
I think it could end up being like at most like a 24-20 as at most, but I can.
That's
see
the exact score I was thinking.
Getting like a 17-14 game-winning field goal type thing. I could die on the hill for that. But anywho, we're gonna move on to our next segment, buy or sell. I have 3 takes here, and I'm going to tell you guys if you buy them or you sell them. And we're going to start going back to the U and going back to Miami. For those that haven't heard, they were up, I believe it was, 3 or 4 points over Georgia Tech, and they had the perfect chance to kneel the ball, run out the clock. They decided to run the ball, fumbled it over to Georgia Tech, who then scored and won the game in Miami. So here is your first take, that Miami head coach Mario Cristobal should be fired after his call of not taking a knee in their loss to Georgia Tech. Want to start off?
You want to go first? All right.
Go ahead.
I'm going sell. I understand it's an awful, stupid call. And he's had this call before in Oregon. There was Oregon versus Stanford. I think it was like 2017.
2018.
2018?
Yeah.
I thought it was 20. Okay.
18.
2018. And Cristobal, I can never pronounce the name. It's always weird. Cristobal was the head coach of Oregon, made the call with 57 seconds left. They're up 31-28. I think they're on Stanford's maybe 37-38. They could just take the knee. Instead, they run it. Oregon fumbles it, and I think Oregon still won. I don't know I can't remember the outcome of the game.
I think they lost.
Yeah,
Did they lose?
Stanford called a tip touchdown.
So he's done it before. He's done this call before. It's a stupid call, absolutely boneheaded, especially when it's under 40, which is a shot clock's 40 seconds, and the opposing team has no timeouts. But where he's brought the team today, I mean, Miami, heck, a year ago wasn't even talked about as much as it was this year. They're ranked. They've been ranked for I think now 2 weeks, 3 weeks. It's a good portion, yeah. Mm-hmm. So I just think looking into that, every coach has a bad mistake. Every coach makes a few mistakes. Firing him off of one giant one that you lost to an unranked opponent, and mind you, they lost it on the other territory, and Georgia Tech had to make 2 huge plays, passing plays, to get into where they were, or to score a touchdown. I just would think it would be even more dumb of Miami to fire the coach that has brought him so far off of one mistake. So I'm going to sell it.
All right.
That's a long one.
He hasn't brought them that far. I mean, they're 4-1 right now, right? It's they're not raising banners yet. The youth standard 20 years ago was a lot. It's just Miami wasn't even they were a mid-tier bowl, right under bowl team right before Derek King was great, and it's just he never really got to play. It's just I don't think that he's done that great of a job, but I'm still gonna sell, man. But Mario Cristobal, you're not playing Madden, dude. Just kneel the ball down. And I'm not gonna go into it it's a dumb decision. Period. He knows it. I know it. Offensive coordinator tried to take the blame for that call, and even in that situation, if you're the head coach, the offensive coordinator's running the ball on third out, you be like, no, you override. You need the ball. But don't fire him yet. He's 4-1. They got potential.
Yeah, I'm selling as well. I think he's done too much good for the program, even though he's not raising banners or anything like David said. But he's done a good job at turning them around. They were pretty bad a few years ago, and they're doing better now. They're obviously ranked. And yeah, it's just dumb. It's just a bad call. He's lived and died on this hill because it's happened before. He's always run the ball out to end the game. He never takes a knee. They do practice it in practice, so I don't know why they don't put it into a game. But it's not fireable.
Yeah, I thought I'd actually get one of you on this, but I'm going to sell it as well. I think the biggest thing for Miami right now is to build a culture and to rebuild what their team was in the 2000s, where they were national championship contenders. But I think that if this was a college football playoff caliber team, I think I would buy the take. But just because I think Cristobal hasn't really, I don't think Miami's a top 15 team. To be honest with you, I'm going to sell it for now and just continue to build the culture that Cristobal is making.
The national media cares more than Miami fans do because there are no Miami fans.
Exactly. Next up, we're going to the NFL, and we have two takes to the NFL we're going to talk about. But the first, we're going to talk about Brock Purdy. I think DraftKings has him as like 5th or 6th most best odds for winning MVP. And I want to hear you guys' thoughts on this. So here's the take. 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy should be a front runner for the NFL MVP right now.
I'm going to start. I'm going to go with sell. Front runner, no. In the conversation, absolutely. He's one of the most, if not the most consistent quarterback in the NFL right now. Obviously, the 49ers have a ton of weapons, but he's got 9 touchdowns. He hasn't thrown a pick, so that says a lot about him in the pocket. But I think there's just other quarterbacks, and even Tyreek Hill could come into the conversation. But there's other quarterbacks that if you plug into where he is, they're going to do a lot better. Like if you put Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen on the 49ers with the weapons they have, they're going to be blowing teams out by so much more than they already are. Or if you do the flip side, you put Brock Purdy into Patrick Mahomes' situation or into Josh Allen's situation, he's not going to be as successful as they are. So I think he absolutely should be in the conversation, and if he keeps performing the way he is, he could absolutely become the front runner. But I think it's way too early for Mr. Irrelevant to become the most relevant quarterback in the league.
I'm so sick and tired of hearing people say, oh, and if you put him in this situation, he's there and he's a good player. He was a good player in college. He's a good player now.
He's absolutely a good player.
He's in a system that makes him succeed.
He's just not the most valuable.
You put him in Kansas City, he's gonna be just as good as he is now. Like maybe different systematically. So he's got weapons.
Are you telling me?
Travis Kelce is
they're
awesome?
Going to be 5-0?
Yeah, I'm telling you.
You're telling me that the Chiefs are going to be 5-0 with Brock Purdy under center.
Oh, no, but that's, there's another side of the ball. There's another side of the ball. The Chiefs don't have a great defense, the 49ers.
You're telling me they would have a better record with Brock Purdy than Patrick Mahomes?
Patrick Mahomes overcame rookies on defense, starting on defense. And
Patrick Mahomes is the best player in the NFL.
If you put
There's no argument about that. Let me talk.
Okay.
There's no argument about that. Patrick Mahomes is way better than Brock Purdy is. But Brock Purdy is a good football player, and I'm tired of hearing people say, oh, if you put him here, if you put him there, to try to make excuses about how good he is of the system. He's very good. He deserves to be in the top 5, so I am buying. I do not think that he deserves to be there over Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen or, there's plenty of quarterbacks better than him, but he is a very good player. He deserves to be in the conversation. If you put him on other teams, he will still be good. Not as good as Patrick Mahomes because Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback talent that maybe we've ever seen in the NFL besides Aaron Rodgers, right up there, 1A, 1B. So I think Brock Purdy deserves his credit.
I am buying this if it was the MVP of Kyle Shanahan's system. Yes, he's the best one recently in Kyle Shanahan's system. But if you put him at I'm just saying, when I was going back to Patrick Mahomes, not if he's better than Patrick Mahomes. If you put him in the same situation Patrick Mahomes was in last year, he's not getting to the Super Bowl, let alone to the championship game. I think that.
What's your argument with Matt Ryan? Matt Ryan won MVP when Falcons were offensive coordinator.
He was better than Brock Purdy. He was the best player in the league.
I know, it was MVP, but you didn't hear anybody saying, oh, you put Matt Ryan over here, you put Matt Ryan over here.
Because he had the best stats out of anybody.
Brock Purdy was an irrelevant pick.
The league.
There's a reason why they call it Mr. Irrelevant. It's because it's the last pick. There's a reason why you're last pick, because you're not good. If he was good, he would have been picked in the first round.
You're telling crazy. No, he didn't get picked in the first round because he's not 6'5". He's a shorter quarterback who played in a non-collegiate pro system. He's a winner.
Williams is 5'11".
Tom Brady was picked in the 6th round. Are you going to say Tom Brady's not good? That's basically what you just said.
Tom Brady was better.
You just said that because Brock Purdy was.
You're putting words in my mouth.
You just said that.
I never said that once.
I have to disagree with your take about the Mr. Irrelevant. That doesn't make him.
You just said because he was picked Mr. Irrelevant, that means he's not good.
You just said he didn't get picked because of size. Caleb Williams has incredible talent and is 5'11".
Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, they're all movers.
Brock Purdy coming out of college was nowhere near as good as some of these top quarterbacks, but in the NFL, he's way more successful than most of them. However, he's not an MVP front runner.
Jimmy Garoppolo's not really succeeding with the Raiders, but he succeeded in Shanahan's offense.
He wasn't as good as Brock Purdy was.
No.
Exactly.
Brock
Purdy
Purdy
good in his
is a
offense.
really good quarterback, and Kyle Shanahan's offense exemplifies that.
Yes.
I don't think he could go into a situation and build a team for them.
He's a cog in the, he can be a part of a good system. He can be a part of a good team. He just can't be the team. He can't be a Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson that would carry a team no matter
I'm not
how
saying
bad
that he's Patrick Mahomes. Oh, okay, he throws Lamar Jackson in there. Anybody pick up that Ravens
Yeah,
fan?
because Lamar Jackson carries the entire team. If you look at it, his wide receivers had 7 drops. He still had a 93.4
Didn't you
passer
guys just
rating.
lose to the Steelers?
Yeah, because his wide receiver had 7 drops.
Didn't Lamar cost you the game by throwing a pick in the end zone?
Lamar had the highest passer rating of all the week.
I think Griffin has some
drops.
thoughts on this issue.
Anywho,
I'm just saying I'm selling.
here's my take on most valuable player. The most valuable player to me is the most valuable player for the team that gets you successful. Brock Purdy, I mean, you take a look at Trey Lance last year. They lost to the Chicago Bears. Very limited sample size compared to what Brock Purdy was. Josh Johnson last year in the NFC Championship game, he didn't succeed. Eagles beat them. They went to the Super Bowl. Jimmy Garoppolo never won a Super Bowl. I mean, yes, they were okay, but they are not at the success that Brock Purdy is leading this team. If there were 5 people that I would consider for the MVP, I would consider Brock Purdy one of them. So I buy it. I think he's doing exactly what he needs to be doing for this team. And that doesn't necessarily mean doing everything. He's doing everything that he should be doing. He has a great line. He has a great receiving core. He has a great running back. And he's doing what, I don't know how I'm saying this. Yeah. He's doing great things with what he's given with.
He's the best quarterback for the system that Kyle Shanahan
Exactly.
has
You
in
could
place.
say, I think you could say the
However,
same thing with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick in a manner.
I don't think he is I think I agree with you. I agree with everything you're saying. I just don't think he quite has the numbers to win MVP yet. If he pops off the rest of the season, and if he can keep the interceptions at 0 or below 5, I think he could very much be in it. I just don't think he has the numbers to be a front runner.
That's
for
a different
MVP
argument. I think that I totally agree with you. I totally
Well, that's
agree
how
with
you win
on that.
MVP is you have the best stats.
No, but that's how you should win MVP.
And successful.
That's how you should win
that's
MVP.
that's how the take was worded.
In the NFL now, it's best quarterback on the best team. With
Looking back
The
at
take was right now.
Yeah, and then I said
So
top
right
5.
now, I
Yeah,
don't think
top
he's
5.
quite the front runner or one of the top 3, but I think if he continues to play the way he has for the rest of the season, he could definitely get into that conversation because of how successful
I don't
he
even think he's
will
the
be.
MVP of the team. The MVP of the team is Christian McCaffrey.
I mean, I don't think Brock. Okay.
I wouldn't disagree with that.
I just don't see him as
wouldn't
that
disagree
valuable.
with that.
He's great at doing his system. I just don't see him as that valuable.
Here is my hot take of the day. Since I never do this, I'm usually in the host chair. If Brock Purdy and the San Francisco 49ers beat the Philadelphia Eagles Week 13 in Philly, Brock Purdy should 100% be in the MVP conversation if the 49ers are less than a one-loss team. Less than a one-loss team. If they go in either undefeated or have one loss,
Yeah,
I think that Brock Purdy should most 100%.
Absolutely.
Griff, I'll give you 3 losses, man. 3-loss team.
I just don't see it.
14,
3-loss team at the end of the season.
14-3.
I never saw it in Tom Brady and he won. He's a winner.
I don't see it.
Tom
with
Brady is the
Purdy.
system
Yeah,
quarterback.
Tom
I mean,
Brady,
it's the same thing.
Tom Brady did put up better numbers a lot of times.
Yeah, but that was also,
but
that
I
wasn't
think
his
Brock
second
Purdy
year in
can
the league.
absolutely get to the
Second year in the league,
Exactly,
he's not
exactly.
good,
I
yeah.
think Brock Purdy is going to be a great quarterback and is going to have a lot of success. I just don't think he can be an MVP front runner right now, this moment.
By front runner, I mean top 5, and I think he's in the top 5.
For me, there's a
think he's
difference
fringe
between
top
Tom
5.
Brady and Brock Purdy. Tom Brady came into a Patriots which was okay. They didn't go to the Super Bowl beforehand really that often. They weren't seen as contenders that often. The 49ers went to the Super Bowl with Jimmy G 2 years, 2020. Yeah, 2020. 2 years before Brock Purdy was then drafted. They still succeeded with 3 different quarterbacks. I think it was 2 years ago when they had all the injuries. They succeeded with Jimmy G.
Well, I believe you had Jimmy G.
They were 13-4.
I believe Jimmy G was in the MVP conversation that
I don't even think he should be. I just think if you're in the system of Kyle Shanahan, you should not. If you're a quarterback, unless you're someone of that top tier, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, if you're not being talked about from your team as the top person being talked about in the 49ers, which right now is Christian McCaffrey, followed probably by Kittle and then maybe Brock Purdy.
I don't know. I hear a lot about Brock Purdy, and Brock Purdy is a solid player. He's so safe with his ball security is top tier. He makes good decisions.
He can
move. Doesn't mess up. That's what he does.
The stats
he doesn't
don't lie.
mess
The stats
up.
don't lie. He torched the Cowboys defense.
Yeah.
And I mean, yes, you could arguably say that, yeah, he had McCaffrey with him, he had Debo with him, he had Kittle with him, he had Ayuk with him, he had an incredible offensive line. But I mean, the stats don't lie. He had an incredible game.
Where's the excuse for Dak Prescott, right? Like, where's the excuses for Dak Prescott?
You put Dak Prescott in that offense, yeah, maybe they torch.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
But he throws 2 picks.
Right. My point is exactly that. Like, Dak Prescott's got weapons on weapons on weapons. Dak Prescott's got Tony Pollard. He's got a good slew of tight ends. He's got a great offensive line. He's got CeeDee Lamb. They traded for Brandon Cooks, who's been a 1,000-yard receiver, yada yada in a row. I mean, even in all the years past when Dallas has all these weapons, great defense last season, right? So it's like I just don't like the slander thrown Brock Purdy's way.
I would
he's
take
balling.
The quarterback makes or breaks the team, and he's making the team. He just doesn't have the numbers to be a front runner for the MVP right now.
We will come back to this most certainly later on this season. Brock Purdy's name will be mentioned. The 49ers will be talked about. But we'll go on to the next take before things get even more heated. And we're not going to be talking about a player. We're going to be talking about a play. And it's with the Philadelphia Eagles. Their most iconic play over their last year and a half, where they line everybody up on the goal line when it's 4th and 1, when it's 3rd and 1, the brotherly shove where they stuff every single running back behind Jalen Hurts, pushes first down. I think it's worked like 95%, maybe more percent of the time. So the take is this, because a lot of people have been talking about this. The Eagles' infamous brotherly shove, where they shove everyone across the goal line, should be banned next season and beyond. Can you start as a Giants fan? I'd like to hear your take.
Yeah.
I sell it.
Okay. Unbiased Giants fan. I like it.
I sell it. It is a play that is impossible to stop, but at that point, you can't let it happen. I mean, even so, like, you have to keep the Eagles, whether it be 3rd and 4, 3rd and short. You can't give them that 2 to 1 yard, and it hasn't worked before. I mean, I think the Packers stopped it last year, and other teams have tried to stop it before, and they have been able to do so with not just the Eagles. I think that the Eagles are just the perfect team for it. That's just my take behind it.
100%.
Jalen Hurts can squat, like 600, 700 pounds.
Yeah,
I mean, that could be an extent. You have Jason Kelce. You have
the best offensive line in football.
You have the best offensive line in football.
Johnson, Seminalo, who's the Jordan Maitala, studs.
My take is that you will not have this for much longer. I think that defenses are going to figure it out. You're going to have a defensive-minded coach that's going to find a way to stop it at some point. But, I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's what Nick Sirianni's doing, so I sell it. I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
I'm selling as well. I agree with everything you just said. Other teams have tried it. It hasn't worked for them. Richard Sherman did bring up a good point, though, about how defenses aren't allowed to push other players into the offensive line. So I think there could be an argument made for player safety that this play should not be allowed. I don't think it should be banned because of how good it is or anything, but I do think you can make the argument that the NFL, because the defense can't push players into the line, the offense shouldn't be able to push players into the line either. So I don't think it should be banned because it's good. I think that just might be the only conversation where it could be banned.
See, I'm going to sell. I agree with you, but I'm going to play off that point. I think that the defense should be able to push players in the line. I think that, like, a lot of these rule changes that have been made are just like not good. Like they're trying to take football and make it something that's not. Defense should absolutely be able to push players in the line. Offense should absolutely be. The Patriots, back in 2014, they did a thing where they would move around their offensive line, have 6 men down, and then not report who was eligible. So they would just have one fly off. And then the NFL made a rule about it. So that's why now when you're watching the game, it's 74 is eligible. 70 over the PA, the referee says it because of the Patriots. And I think it's the same thing with the Eagles. I don't think the Patriots play, that was banned, right? You had to now report them as eligible. This could be banned because of the same technicality. I think it shouldn't. I think it's strategy. It's part of the game. I don't think everybody would be able to do that as good as the Patriots did it, but the Patriots were doing it. So, I totally agree. Sell it, sell it, sell it.
I'm just having a fire sale over here today because I'm selling this one too. I don't like any of the changes really currently, at least the recent changes, that have been made to football. The pass interferences, the roughing the pass.
Kickoffs.
Everything. I hate it because it's taking the physicality out and it's making it, it's basically flag football to an extent, and it's all geared towards more points, and ironically enough, there's still defenses not even allowing 10. It's not really helping anyone. To me, all the changes are awful. This one specifically, I mean, other teams have tried it and failed. The Eagles have just been really good at actually, what's the word? I'm trying to think of the word. Executing, thank you. You can stop it if you win your one-on-one battles. If someone is strong enough to win that one-on-one battle, you can stop it. The problem is that no one is strong enough to battle that offensive line of Philly, and so you always get it 4th and 1, 3rd and 1. And it's preventable. It's not like it's a 1st and 10 and they go, okay, let's just push them 10 yards. Like, it's on the 1, which means you've let up already 9 yards. Right. So to me, I don't like the fact that people are saying, oh, we should we should change it. We should ban it from football, because then you're really just taking the physicality out of football. And it's
also just being a baby.
People
are just complaining because they can't beat it. That's what it is.
And I just hate it because, I mean, this is going to be a sore spot for you, but when the Giants tried it with Daniel Jones, was it? And they had 2 offensive linemen.
That was bad.
Yeah. They had 2 offensive linemen back there, and they tried very similar, at least, with the QB sneak, and they ended up hurting their own players. Like, it's not – it's just – I don't know. I don't like it.
So that's where I do think that's where – I don't think it'll be banned yet, but if players do start getting hurt over it, that's where it can – that's where it'll cause problems.
Exactly. Anywho, we'll move on to our NFL pick'em now. We got 4 games that we're going to be talking about. In the first one, we're going to be going to the jungle. We're going to be going to Cincinnati, where they'll be hosting the 3-1 Seattle Seahawks. So yeah, what are your picks here? What do you like? Why do you like them first?
Hometown, Seahawks, bias, but I do think Seattle would win even if I wasn't biased. The Bengals just have not looked good this year. However, they have been good against the NFC West. Their 2 wins coming against the Rams and the Cardinals, but Burrow still isn't 100%. The Bengals don't have anything going for them right now, and the Seahawks have been really solid coming off a bye week, so they've had 2 weeks to prepare for this game. I think they're going to beat them pretty handedly.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Bengals. I love the Seahawks. I think Geno's going to have a big game. He hasn't really looked as good as he did last year. He looked good in the Detroit game, but I think he's going to look pretty good. But the Bengals defense is very good, right? The Bengals defense is the reason they've been in most of their games. Obviously they've had blowouts to Cleveland and Tennessee because they couldn't move the ball, and they only scored 3 points. I don't think the Seattle defense is very good statistically. They had 1 game outlier against the Giants, I think the Bengals still, Joe Burrow, they're slinging it. They were slinging it against the Rams. The offense needs to figure something out. And I think Joe Mixon's a good running back. They got so much talent there. I think it's just time that they wake up. I don't think that the Bengals team that we've seen is the Bengals team that's real.
Absolutely.
So I think the Bengals team will finish close to 500, yeah. maybe even above. Who knows?
Is this the game they wake up, though?
I think so.
Okay. Right.
I'm tough. This is a tough decision because it's do you trust the Seahawks' inconsistent defense more? I mean, they're not hugely inconsistent, but they're
pretty inconsistent.
It's not the 49ers is what I'm trying to get to. Or do you trust the inconsistency or the inconsistent Bengals offense? And that's where I'm between, because the Bengals, as much as we've seen it before, they started 0-2, they still made the playoffs, they still won the division. It's not the same this year. Joe Burrow is not healthy. He hasn't been healthy. The Seahawks, though, I mean, they had a really good game against the Giants, but then it's you look at their Lions week, and their Lions week wasn't great. I mean, it's just I'm probably leaning more towards Seahawks. Obviously, their trio of wide receivers with JSN, Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf hasn't really lived up, at least the hype. At least I haven't seen any of the hype.
JSN's been banged up.
Yeah, and it's just it's going to be tough. I think it's who's going to be which inconsistent team is going to be more consistent that game? That's kind of where I am right now. And I think I would trust the Seahawks defense over the Bengals defense, and I think I would trust the Seahawks offense over the Bengals offense. It's just from what they're showing this year.
Seahawks defense over Bengals defense?
I don't know about that.
I would trust them because I like their young secondary. I just like the matchup better. I don't know. The Bengals offensive line is still not good no matter how many changes they make to it. I'm going to lean Seahawks. I think the Seahawks will win.
Okay.
That's just it's a tough one to pick, but
I'm going to split the house here. I'm going to go with the Bengals.
Let's go. He's been on my side all day. I feel good.
This is a very tough one because they're 2 very inconsistent teams. But I think the emergence of Jamar Chase from last week is going to help kickstart this offense. He had an incredible game. He kind of came out of his shell. I mean, fantasy, he was kind of all over the place. But I think that this was the X factor. This was the kickstart that they needed. And I forget who the Bengals played. I mean,
Cardinals.
They played the Cardinals. And I mean, yes, then again, it's the Cardinals, but it's a great way to kickstart a streak. And the Bengals always start off slow. They started off 0-2 before last year. And the same goes 2 years before. They had a tough start to the season. But they always come back. Do I think this team makes the playoffs? I think going down the road we might need to see. But I think they started off maybe a little bit too poorly than others. But I think that from what happened the last game and the success that they had offensively, I think that will translate into this week.
I think water's going to find its level.
Exactly. But I would not be surprised if Seattle wins this. I think this will be a fun one. But Next up, we are going to our first rematch of this season. We have 2 3-2 teams atop the AFC North, and one of them will come out on top. We have the Indianapolis Colts. Without Anthony Richardson, Gardner Minshew's the guy behind the center. They'll be traveling to Jacksonville to take on the London Jaguars, who have come off 2 wins in England, being the Bills and the Atlanta Falcons. In the Jaguars, guys, I think the Jaguars did take game 1, week 1. So, are they repeating? Are the Colts taking it? What you got?
I'm going Jaguars. I don't know. It's just like tough to like.
People say it like that. He just had a reaction because you say Jaguars. It's some people say Jaguars, some people say Jaguars.
Like Oregon.
It's like one of those like crayon.
Sorry, continue.
I'm saying Jaguars because that's how I grew up saying it. So
no,
fair
that's
enough.
fair.
I'm going Jaguars. I think the Jaguars hit their stride. They've hit it the last 2 weeks. So it's kind of different, and I'm putting this back to the Bengals. The Bengals have had 1 good game, and with the unhealthy quarterback. The Jaguars have had 2 really good games back-to-back with a healthy quarterback. That's kind of where I was with that thing. So with this one, I'm looking back at the Jaguars. They've been consistent as of recently. They just took down the Bills, although it was across the water. So, I mean, again, it's a time difference. I'm leaning towards the Jaguars over the Colts. Plus, Anthony Richardson's out, and he's a big factor. But Minshew can fill the void.
Real fast, I'm going to take the Jaguars as well, real fast, because I saw you guys' whiteboards. Yeah, I think maybe the loss of Anthony Richardson's maybe a little bit tough just because of the dynamic that he plays. A very, very good two-way player, but he's very physical, so that's why he's been injured the last 2 weeks. But I'm going to go to the Jaguars, especially at home. They're coming off 2 wins, especially a great one against the Buffalo Bills. I think they keep it going and get a third one tonight. Not tonight, this weekend.
Yeah. So we know how hard it's been for teams to go to London and play. The Jaguars were able to be there for 2 weeks, which means they were really adjusted to the time. But it's got to be hard coming back home. They still have to deal with that, so I think that's going to help the Colts a little bit. But also, it's Gardner Minshew's homecoming to Jacksonville.
Gardner Minshew revenge game.
Give me that
I'm
mustache.
right there with
Give
you,
me
brother.
that mustache. I think he'll be great for this game and this game only. I think they'll have a terrible season the rest of the year if he has to be their quarterback.
See, I disagree.
But give me his homecoming in Jacksonville. He's going to spoil their hot streak, and the Colts are going to win.
I'm a Minshew guy, man. Minshew should have won Rookie of the Year against Kyler Murray. He had better stats. Kyler Murray was just giving it because of the hype. And then, Minshew got drafted. Trevor Lawrence came around. Trevor Lawrence, generation talent. Gardner Minshew, 6th-round pick, who, got to work it out the mud. But he's a stud, man. I mean, I love his energy. I love his vibes. He's got a winning record as a starting quarterback all time. Like, he played for the Eagles, won a couple games for the Eagles as a backup. I think that he's better than definitely at least 5 starting quarterbacks in the NFL. I'd really say that, and I think that he's a great backup to have, and I think that he's got the fire. Revenge game at Jacksonville. I think he had 21 touchdowns and only 6 interceptions his rookie year. I mean, those are pretty good stats, especially for a rookie in Jacksonville. I'm going the Colts. Colts got a good defense. They got heart. I'm all for it.
Then again, you're also dealing with Minshew had barely any. How did I not know that? I mean, then again, I didn't really do a lot of research coming into this. I just hopped on the panel, but
barely any what? Wide receivers?
Yeah, he didn't have any help.
No.
Right?
Oh, in Jacksonville?
Yeah.
None. But now he's got some. Michael Pittman, stud. Alec Pierce, pretty good player.
Josh Downs,
okay. Gives me Purdy energy. Minshew.
I think Gardner Minshew's a top 3 quarterback. Top 3 backup quarterback in the NFL. I think anybody.
Top 1, dude.
Yeah, I mean, top 3 guaranteed. I might need to do more research.
I
for a backup quarterback, but anywho, we'll see the mullet man in action on 1 o'clock p.m. on Sunday. And then our next game, we're going to 2 only 1-loss teams in the NFC. We got the 4-1 Lions, potentially the story of the season, traveling to Raymond James Stadium to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Fresh off the bye, who do you guys like in this one?
I like the Lions. I do love what Baker's done in Tampa. I think the culture he's bringing, I think he's done a really great job with the team. They just haven't beat anybody. The Saints have been the toughest team they've beat. And the Lions have looked really solid in all of their outings. Obviously a little bit bumpy against the Seahawks, but the Seahawks were a pretty good team that week. So I think the Lions are going to go down there, take care of business, and keep their hot streak rolling.
I'm going with the Bucs, man. I'm going with the Bucs. I think the Bucs have a stud defense, and I think Mayfield's finally in an offensive role where the whole weight is not on his shoulders. He doesn't have the pressure he did in Cleveland. He's got the revenge factor. He's trying to prove himself that he still is quality starting quarterback in the NFL, and I think he is. We saw that with the Rams last year, you know. I mean, he was never really given a chance to succeed in Carolina. You know, so much tumultuosity with Darnold and P.J. Walker. Then he gets to the Rams. He, you know, beats the Raiders on that Thursday Night Football. He's got heart, man. You can't ever take that away from him. He's a pretty decent quarterback when he's got weapons around him, and he's got weapons on weapons down there. I mean, you know, I think any quarterback would be bad without weapons, and I think that he's surrounded in a good situation. Todd Bowles calling the defense real good. I'm going to go with the Bucs strictly kind of to fade the public. I think I love the Lions. Great story. I'm a Packers fan, but, you know, still got to respect what they've done. I think everybody saw them coming in the season. They're going to be real good. But I'm going to go to the Bucs because I think they're not getting the credit. I think they're good. You know, the storyline's going to play out with the Bucs winning.
I'm going Lions. I think the Bucs have a great story this year. You said it very well. Like they have a great story. Baker Mayfield's kind of making his return, his revenge week. But the Lions are just really good right now. I mean, I looked at it, and in PFF, I believe their interior lineman, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, has like a 91 PFF rating, and then Aiden Hutchinson's the top edge. So you have the top interior and the top edge both ranked the highest in a rating category throughout 5 weeks. I mean, their defense has really stepped up from last year. I'm really liking what the Lions are doing, and I love Dan Campbell, absolutely my favorite guy. Probably, I like him better than Mike McDaniel, that's my opinion, but I still like Mike McDaniel too. I absolutely love what the Lions are doing, and I think they're going to continue and roll into the Bucs and beat them.
I'm going to split the house again. I like the Bucs in this one. For some reason, I really do not know why, but I think the Bucs will take this, and here's why. I think the bye week is very important. They are coming off a bye week, and they are coming off a really impressive win. I believe they did play New Orleans. Correct me if I'm wrong. But, I mean, a win over a division opponent is huge. I think Baker Mayfield, I mean, high off his Red River Showdown win with Oklahoma, he's got the walk-on mentality. He's got the weapons. This team won the Super Bowl 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And
they still got most of that team.
They got the whole team. They just don't have Tom Brady and
Antonio Brown.
Antonio Brown, Leonard Fournette, but they still got the whole gang. And I know
Definitely a plus.
And I know Todd Bowles is not you know the head coach that we all know and love. I prefer Dan Campbell over him, but something tells me this Bucs team gets it done. It's going to be a gritty game. It will be on my TV for sure, but I'm going to take the Bucs in this one. But I love this game.
Even Jared Goff has a little bit of a grittiness.
Oh,
because Jared Goff's trying to prove it too.
I think they're going to heat him up. I think the defense. I think I'm really excited because I think Jared Goff is a good quarterback.
And I'm pretty sure Goff was the first.
I think
he reminds first overall. So this was like
Brock Purdy honestly reminds me a lot of.
I agree.
These are two first overall quarterbacks picked
on different teams.
I think it was 2 years apart. That are trying to prove that they're still very good quality.
I think Goff is past that.
Oh, Goff.
I think Goff has already proved.
They're still in that stage where they're not getting enough respect. Like Goff is still not getting enough respect. Goff could be.
Well, he went there. Yeah.
I mean, Jared Goff could be top 10 in MVP voting. Could be.
Jared Goff hasn't had any respect since the Super Bowl performance that he had with Los Angeles with the Patriots, like what 4 or 5 years ago.
You don't think he got respect for last season?
No. I think he did, but I think he still has something to prove.
I think it's to prove that wasn't a fluke.
I think he has something to prove just because of the abysmal offensive attack. But then again, the Patriots defense was so good 5 years ago. But
they also gave it more to like Amon and Dan Campbell. Like they gave it a lot more to the coach, which is I feel like is awful because like if your quarterback does really well, all of a sudden the coach is really good because he's like the whisperer. Which it kind of depends on how you see the team. But,
right.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah. Going to our last game, we're talking Monday Night Football. We have the 3-2 Dallas Cowboys who suffered a beatdown against the San Francisco 49ers. They're staying on the West Coast looking to avenge their loss over the 2-2 Los Angeles Chargers going over a bye week. I'll start. I like the Cowboys. This one's straight from my dad, diehard Cowboys fan. I think that, bounce back, especially, they're now in the time zone. They're on the West Coast now, and I think that they're a little bit pissed off. And the Chargers are still a little bit of an iffy team. I don't like Brandon Staley as a coach, and I think the Cowboys get it done big.
I'm going with the Cowboys as well. I think it comes down to the offensive weapons, and the Cowboys' offense is a lot healthier than the Chargers' offense. I've gone with every road team so far except for the Huskies, so I'm going to keep on that track, and the Cowboys are going to dominate this game.
I'm going the Cowboys. My cousin Thomas just got married. And he's a huge Cowboys fan. Congrats to Thomas and Jackie. I think that the Chargers don't have a defense. I think that the Cowboys are tougher than they looked in the 49ers game. I just think the Cowboys are a very good team that can't play with the big boys. Like, I think they'll get smashed by the Eagles, smashed by the Niners, smashed by the Chiefs probably, a lot of these teams. But I think they're good enough to power against the Chargers. Tony Pollard, he's going to have a big game.
I agree. Ryan?
The Cowboys remind me of the little kid that always talks a lot and can never back it up.
I hate the Cowboys. It's just
I'm just saying, no. I agree with you. I'm leaning more towards the Cowboys winning. I think Justin Herbert will have a phenomenal game. I mean, he always seems to have a really good game at some point.
and then Brandon Staley will blow it after Herbert throws 4 touchdowns.
Or the defense or something. It's like, I just don't trust the Chargers defense at all, especially, I mean, I know J.C. Jackson wasn't doing well with them, but he's still a top, when he's healthy, and especially he might even be a system cornerback. But either way, he's really good when he's on his game. So, I mean, you lose that. I believe they have a few injuries running in. Austin Eckler is coming back, so I think they're going to score points. But I trust the Cowboys defense and I'd say the Cowboys defense more. I'm not going to touch the offense because I don't know if I trust Dak. I just don't know if I can trust him.
Micah Parsons is going to have a field day.
Oh, yeah. Micah Parsons is ticked
100%.
off. I just find it funny that Dak was like, I'm not going to throw – trust me, I'm not going to throw more than 10 interceptions, and in 5 weeks he has 4. Like, it's not looking good.
He stinks.
He
stinks.
There's a hot take, and this might be a little bit off topic for a little bit, but there are some people thinking that if he continues this, he would be out of a job by the end of this year. Like, completely.
I think they might. I don't know if they'll be out of a job.
Not just Cowboys, like completely out of it.
I've never been a fan of
Absolutely
Mike
not.
McCarthy. I mean, I think it stems through him. I've never been a fan of Mike McCarthy. I mean, he's out of Green Bay for a reason. But
I'm a McCarthy guy.
I don't think Dak Prescott will be out of a job by the end of the season, but I think they could definitely be looking to draft a guy and bring him up under him to take his spot.
You're saying you've heard people say that he's going to be out of the league if he has a bad year?
Just that he won't be a starting quarterback.
Okay.
Because of other younger
He's better than
It's like the
10
Twitter
other
people.
quarterbacks.
It's like the
in
Twitter
than
people
more
that
than-
are like they think they're
yeah.
coaches,
He's
but they're just
better
like
than
fans, and they're
he's
like,
better
oh,
than
Dak's
10
not
other
gonna be there.
quarterbacks.
it could be like I mean if it gets to abysmal and I mean it runs to the next season, I think you could see something that happened with Carson Wentz and Jalen Hurts when
Trey
he
Lance,
declined,
baby.
had like a second round, third rounder next year just for insurance.
Trey Lance.
Exactly.
Bring back Ben DiNucci.
Exactly. Cooper Rush undefeated as a starter.
Cooper Rush.
Start running the Wildcat with Trey Lance.
Deuce Vaughn.
The Red
Vaughn
Mississippi
Wildcat.
Deuce Vaughn Wildcat.
Brandon Cooks could throw a little bit, I think. CeeDee Lamb could too. You could throw him back there.
The last thing I'll say about this game, I think it was like, 2 years ago? It was like, I think it was like a
Thanksgiving.
35-31 game, like the Chargers and Cowboys, I think. I just remember being on fantasy and like every player on both those teams were crazy. But that's going to be enough with all of us talking on tonight's episode. Just thank you guys for watching once again. Shout out Connor in the back. He's been doing all this the whole time.
So much fun.
We appreciate you, man. And be sure to leave a comment on any of our hot takes. And yeah, we'll see you guys soon with another episode of The Extra Point.